Oi, oi, all right, how's it going? I'm Grant, you're you. This is Doodle Review, and if you've been following the channel over the last few days, you'll know that I've been dropping some top 10s of various different genres, but now today is the big one. Top 50 albums of the year 2023. There's a lot to get through, 50 in fact, so let's smash it out. At number 50, Foo Fighters, but here we are. Dave Grohl and the band returned after devastating loss with one of their best albums in well over a decade. At 49, we have Doja Cat's album Scarlet. My review of her last record mentioned several times how I'd love to see her take on a majority rap album, and it's exactly what she delivered, and it's a bunch of fun. 48, we have Travis Scott's Utopia. You can find the link below to my top 10 rap albums where I spoke on this a bit, as well as the dedicated review, which will be linked down there as well. While I think this is baggy, it's overlong, it's got great bangers with amazing production. At 47, we're going with Angel Dust, Brand New Soul. I didn't rate this as much as their previous album due to it being, I guess, a little chaotic. There's so many guests and so much going on, but it is a really fun fusion of punk and 90s pop. Arlo Parks, Soft Machine, again hit the link below for top 10 pop albums, but this ranked highly on there, and I think this is Arlo Parks just made such a sweet airy pop album here. It's a shame I haven't seen it more acclaimed overall, because I think it's great. At 45, Blur, The Ballad of Darren. Initially underwhelmed by this, but while my criticism around the lack of catharsis still stands, this record has grown on me, and I found myself coming back to it way more than I thought. Okay, at number 44, we've got Noel Gallagher's Council Skies. This was a fantastic return to form, featuring some of Noel's best and most emotive songs in years. Number 43, The Hives, The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons. I've mentioned this album so many times here, you know the drill by now. This is an album of stone cold bangers from one of the best live bands, one of the best garage punk bands around. At number 42, we've got Real Bad Man and Blue with Bad News. Great production from RBM here. It's a treat for fans of 90s hip hop, and I got lots of Raekwon / Wu-Tang vibes from Blue on this one. 41, Romy, Midair. This is an infectious album of sweet pop love songs set over production that recalls the kind of boom of euphoric and trance house crossover hits of the early 2000s. Okay, so that's the first 10. How are we doing? You pleased, or have we fallen off already? See what 40 and the rest of the 30s bring. Okay, kicking off, we got 40, Mike, Burning Desire, the number one on my top 10 rap list. Mike has had a fantastic year. If you like underground or art rap, don't sleep on this. 39, Jeff Rosenstock, HELLMODE. It's the 6th solo Rosenstock album, and it's another absolute treat. Occasionally a little gloomy for the punk songwriter, but still infinitely enjoyable on the whole. And at 38, we got Drain's Living Proof. This is a sick crossover hardcore record. Great riffs, great energy, and they're a super fun live band. Then we've got 37, Grian, Chatten, Chaos for the Fly. I knew the Fontaines DC frontman would go solo eventually, but didn't expect it to happen this quickly. Nonetheless, it's a fantastic album from the Irish poet. 36, we have Allegra Krieger's I Keep My Feet. The New York-based Krieger put out a folk album this year, very reminiscent of the Greenwich Village scene of the Bohemian 60s, with sweet melodies and journal-like lyrics. At 35, we've got Yusuf Dayus, Black Classical Music. I've been clamouring for a solo album from Yusuf Dayus for some time now. He's probably one of the best modern jazz drummers, and this album cements that with sprawling compositions covering many jazz subgenres. At number 34, we got Sufjan Stevens' Javelin. Renaissance Fair production aside, this is a touching and emotive singer-songwriter album that provides a unique perspective on loss and relationships, and it kind of reminded me of Paul Simon's Graceland. At 33, we've got Boy Genius, the record. While I wasn't completely swept up in this record the way others have been, giving it some space on subsequent listens, I was impressed, not actually just by the songwriting, but the arrangements and the instrumentation. Someone pointed out to me the unique time signatures of a track like $20, and it definitely adds a new layer when stacked against other indie folk records. At 32, Armand Hammer, We Buy Diabetic Test Strips. Just like Mike, Billy Woods has had a crazy impressive year as well. This Armand Hammer record with Elucid reinforces both artists' lyrical prowess with a kaleidoscope of abstract beats and instrumentation. And at 31, we got Be Your Own Pet Mummy, the indie garage rock reunion I don't think anyone saw coming. Be Your Own Pet put out an album possibly more compelling than anything they actually did in their first run. Alright, let's jump into 30 and the rest of the 20s. Hopefully you're not too pissed off at this point. Still a lot to go, so let's get on with it. 30, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Petrogonic Apocalypse. Only the 2 albums for King Gizzard this year, and while I enjoyed the Silver Chord, it was this return to metal, something we haven't heard since their Infest the Rat's Nest album, that really hit for me. At 29, we've got Tony Allen and Adrian Young, Jazz is Dead 18. I was so happy to hear that Adrian Young was able to get a session in with Tony Allen prior to his passing, to include in this now long-running great jazz series. This is a bittersweet showcase of the Nigerian drummer's immense talent. And at 28, we've got Andre 3000's New Blue Sun. Not the Andre 3K album we wanted, but the one we need right now. An expansive, ambient jazz flute album that, if it's your sort of thing, definitely rewards repeated listens. And at 27, we got Jessie Ware, That Feels Good, which is a brighter, more upbeat follow-up to her previous What's Your Pleasure record. Jessie Ware's new album is another fun listen from beginning to end, touching on elements of funky house as well as the disco style that's now core to her sound. Switching things up, at 26 we got White Reaper, Asking for a Ride, Thin Lizzy dueling guitar solos, touches of early thrash, Judas Priest glam, new wave and pop punk make White Reaper one of the most dynamic and thrilling modern rock bands. I had the song Fog Machine on repeat all of this year. And at 25 we've got Mike Wiki and the Alchemist, Faith is of Rock. This is the second of 2 great Mike projects, with this collaboration with the Alchemist and Wiki being my favourite. The production is on point and the 2 lead MCs here have an awesome chemistry. At 24 we're going Military Gun, Life Under the Gun. This LA based post-hardcore / indie rock crossover band proved they were one to watch, with a solid set of aggressive bangers with a classically Californian easy breezy vibe. At 23 we got Predeceased, What Do You Do, the top of my top 10 rock list. These guys blew me away when I caught them opening for Quicksand this year. They have a grinding guitar sound a la underground bands of the 90s like Jesus Lizard, with kind of the swing of a Queens of the Stone Age. At 22 we've got King Cruel, Space Heavy, an album that captures the transient sound of the in-between. Archie Marshall's 4th album as King Cruel could be said to meander a little too much between the more traditional songs, but to me the more abstract instrumental passages just serve to bring the theme to life all the more effectively. At 21, Caroline Polachek, Desire, I Want to Turn Into You. This was an early banger this year that married throwback pop sounds with some cutting edge, dare I say it, hyper pop sensibilities. Welcome to My Island is a banger. Okay, how are we feeling? Good? You ready to get into the teens? Let's get it. Starting this off at 20, we've got James Blake, Playing Robots into Heaven. I absolutely love this new James Blake record. It's a bit darker and grittier than we've heard in a while, with compositions that move you from dark to light and back without you even knowing it. It's amazing. Number 19, a new artist for me, Sunny Ware, Anarchist Gospel. Sunny Ware is on the face of it a folk artist with a crossover into country and blues, but there's something in her delivery, some sort of X factor communicated in her attitude that grips me as a fan of punk and outsider art. One of my favourite tracks on this album is Sunny Ware's cover of Ween's Baby Bitch. That choice alone, I think, says so much about the artist's tastes and influences, and while she undoubtedly makes it her own as well. At 18, we've got Nas's Magic 3, the 6th Hit Boy produced Nas record in 3 years. This has been an unbelievable partnership, garnering banger after banger, and somehow even at the end of this 6 record run, the bars, wordplay and delivery from Nas is some of the best in the collection. At 17, we've got Olivia Rodrigo, Guts, a refined sophomore pop record that cut some of the dead weight imitations from the first record to focus on the power pop, pop punk, indie rock style that really suits Rodrigo, leading to some of the year's best pop moments. At 16, we've got Kali Uchis, Red Moon in Velvet. Kali is one of my favourite modern R&B artists, and although she has a devoted fan base, she's not unknown. I just think she's still probably one of the most underrated. Her work has never been anything less than amazing, and Red Moon in Venus, Uchis' 3rd album, is no different, although it is a slight sidestep into a more mainstream sound after 2020's Sin Miedo. At 15, we've got Brandee Younger, Brand New Life. This album is not just a spotlight of Younger's compositional skill as a jazz harpist, but a tribute to another artist that had a big influence on her playing, which is Dorothy Ashby. Supported by amazing jazz producer Micaiah McCraven, Younger has given new life to known Ashby tracks as well as unreleased compositions such as the spellbinding opener You're a Girl for One Man Only. This is a beautiful record top to bottom. And speaking of beautiful records, following that up with 14, Spencer Zahn, Statues 1 and 2. Zahn is a neoclassical composer, and both Statues records are fantastic fusions of that style with elements of jazz and ambient. The first album is just piano and feels as though it was recorded in real live time, while the second incorporates more adventurous instrumentation for a more dynamic but equally as captivating listen. At 13, we've got Kelela Raven. This was in my top list of pop and R&B records, and I think it's an amazing fusion of styles, including R&B, UK garage, and even more ambient meditative pieces. My favourite song in this set was actually Missed Call. Definitely check that one out. At 12, we got Billy Woods and Kenny Segal Maps. It's fitting that this artwork for the record mimics the branding of an Insight flight safety magazine, because there's so many styles that this album flies through in its 45-minute runtime. Segal's beats run the gamut from lo-fi and rugged to dreamy and melancholic, and Woods uses the varied canvas to touch on so many topics, be they gentrification, relationships, touring and parenthood. At 11, Queens of the Stone Age, In Times New Roman. I couldn't share my rap this year because it was literally this album. I am a die-hard Queens fan, but I think even objectively speaking, while the production could be a bit dense at times, this is the band's strongest record easily since Like Clockwork, but I could even be pressed to say it's their best since Songs for the Deaf. Okay, here we go. Top 10. Let's get it. At number 10, we have the Jazzbois' Higher Dimension Waiting Room. This album came out of nowhere and blew me away. Jazzbois are a trio from Budapest, Hungary, and Higher Dimension Waiting Room is their third record and has ended up being one of my favourite jazz releases of the year. The trio are an improvisational group, which is why the album sounds so much like it was recorded with little additional overdubbing or production, just these musicians in the zone, laying it down. I love it. At number 9, Lana Del Rey, Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard? I did not think we were going to get another album at the same level as Norman fucking Rockwell. Not for any lack of belief in Lana as an artist, I'm a huge fan, but just because albums like that come around rarely in a songwriter's career. After the fairly middling Country Club and Blue Banisters records, Lana is back on form with an album that for once seems less like imagined stories of some romanticised character and more like genuine personal soul searching. To a degree, there is of course the classic Lana mystique peppered throughout, but this has definitely shown a different side to the divisive and beloved singer-songwriter. At 8, we're going for JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown Scaring the Hose. Without hearing anything from this project, you just knew it was going to be something pretty special and really unique. But what was less easy to tell would be how enjoyable it would be. It feels like putting Peggy and Danny together could have seen them kind of push each other way out even further into the abstract, past the point of this record being something that you'd want to put on again and again. But the record we got though rides that line perfectly of being weird as fuck but super enjoyable. At 7, I'm putting the Fiddlehead, Death Is Nothing to Us, another record that has continued to grow on me over the course of the year. I'm normally a little resistant to some of the more earnest, more dramatic hardcore, but on Death Is Nothing to Us, the band bring a real passion to the songs that both get you going while really selling the lyrics. Look at me, I'm on fire could feel a little contrived in the hands of other bands, but the sheer conviction of the delivery just makes it work. This album will have you screaming along, hand in heart, unashamedly. At 6, we got Mark Barrow Jahatsu. This is a soundtrack album written and performed by Barrow for an as of right now unreleased Japanese documentary on the art of evaporation. While it's a shame the documentary seems unlikely to ever be released, I am so glad we got to hear the soundtrack because this is a fantastic ambient release. The record spans a number of moods, starting with the up-tempo vocal sampling Kyoto, which is then followed by the contemplative solo piano of Shinrin Yoku. My favourite moments are the pieces that lean more into jazz though, like Yonige with its creative drums, but most specifically Icarus, which just has a perfect combination of trumpet, piano, synth and drums. If you're into ambient music or soundtrack work, absolutely check this out. At number 5, we've got Andrew Bird's Inside Problems. If I was to describe Andrew Bird's work to someone that had never listened to him before, I'd say imagine Father John Misty, but in place of the cutting, cynical, sardonic commentary is a kind of whimsical optimism reminiscent of Paul McCartney. Being a fiddle player first, Bird brings a real variety of instrumentation to his indie folk singer-songwriter work that imbues songs with so much character without ever feeling too lofty or without hook. Hold up. What is this, amateur hour? For any of you that have made it this far through the video, you might know, you might not, but it's come to my attention that Andrew Bird, Inside Problems, came out in 2022, not 2023. This is very embarrassing. I went into full crisis mode last night when I found out. Messaged a few friends and they responded, and the general consensus was no one cares. So with that being said, rather than kind of try and all out redo the whole list within a whole night, or artificially insert something in at number 5 that I actually didn't enjoy that much and thus compromise the integrity of this very, very important list, I just thought I'd cop to it and put it here. So I'm sorry, amateur hour over here, but it's a great album nonetheless. You should check it out. Yeah, on with the rest of the list. At 4, we got Paramore's This Is Why, a band that I've shunned wrongly for so long. This Is Why is a fantastic exercise in applying a post-punk sensibility to arena-ready songs. Hayley Williams' vocals are dynamic throughout, pivoting from soft-spoken to going for it at a moment's notice. Taylor York's guitars are angular, dissonant and economic, and Zach Farrow's drums build whispering atmosphere or punch the air crescendos depending on what's needed. It's just a fantastic modern rock album. At number 3, we've got No Name's Sundial. Fatima Naima Warner, aka No Name, is renowned for her ability to deliver deep societal observations and deconstructions with a balance of smart wordplay, great cadence and great flow. There's enough talent in that alone that all other musical elements could actually take a back seat and the album would still pack a punch. But what makes Sundial an amazing record is its utter commitment to go that extra mile and match that lyrical exceptionalism with fantastic instrumentals that are both smooth and energetic. Billy Woods also makes his 3rd placement on this list with a fantastic feature on the record too. At number 2, Julie Byrne, The Greater Wings. Julie Byrne is a singer-songwriter originally from Buffalo, New York, and The Greater Wings is her 3rd full-length record since arriving on the scene in 2014. Dealing with the loss of her close friend, producer and songwriting partner Eric Lippman, Byrne has delivered a touching folk meditation on loss with otherworldly and ethereal instrumental touches. Grief is a state of being. It's one that has multiple phases and facets and doesn't come and go like a feeling. It enshrouds you like some sort of cosmic cloud, a cloud of, as Byrne describes, unending love. And capturing the essence of that in an album is a remarkable achievement and will no doubt resonate with listeners for years to come. Okay, so my number 1 record of the year is The Armed's Perfect Saviors, my only 10 rating of the year. I don't think I've seen as much acclaim for The Armed's 5th album as I've heaped on it, but every time I listen, I'm struck by the musicianship, the drama, the intensity, the dynamism, and the thought-provoking but not over-the-top social commentary. To quote the close of my review directly, I said Perfect Saviors is to The Armed what the Exterminator Evil Heat era was to Primal Scream. It's a truly unique, one-of-a-kind, nightmarishly psychedelic artistic statement that is, I don't know, maybe it's just too good to get the real recognition it deserves, but fuck, I love it. This is a 10 out of 10 and I'll stand by that. If the heavier side of alt-rock is your thing, give this record a go and let it sit with you a while. It is fantastic. We made it. Thank you for watching. I really want to hear your feedback, so hit me up in the comments. Let me know what I missed, what was too high, what was too low. Show some love, share some thoughts, or just wholesome abuse in the comments. I've got videos of all of the reviews down below. I'd love it if you stuck around with me into 2024 and next year. There's going to be so much more to come. I'll see you then. Okay, mate. Cheers. Bye.